Okay, well, I guess I want to talk, like, material possessions and the way they grip us and how they own us more than we own them. For example, look at the book Fight Club. You got Jack, the narrator, so-called, tells himself his name is Jack, or we don't know. I've read the book, I've saw the movie. But I find myself sort of living in that context of his world where, like, you become so ensnared with the objects around you that they become your possessors as opposed to you possessing them. And so forth, you attach yourself to this condo you're living in, and you build this collage behind you, and you start to construct things and ideas, and you become trapped in this prison of thoughts and ideas and ideologies that it literally becomes your safe haven. It becomes your safe space, more or less. And then the wires start coming loose, and you snap. You snap and you start this club. You next thing you know, you're in the basement of bars with all these drunks. You're getting your knuckles bruised and beaten and bloodied, while everyone's just spitting on the floor and fucking whipping their dicks out and jerking off. I don't know. No, I'm taking it out of context when it comes to that point. But material possession. Coming to Florida was a great move on my part. Have I helped benefit society from it? I don't fucking know. Should I be so concerned with what society is doing with itself at this point? And it's just like, I really don't know, and it's painful for me to get in this conversation because everyone wants to be so altruistic in this age and this day and age. They want to be these imminent voices of reason and this and that, and it's so frustrating that you do collapse under the weight of it, and you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna start a fucking fight club, and we're going to get into these brutal fights on the ground, and we're gonna release our energy, our masculinity, and we're just going to paint the floor with teeth and blood and spit and condoms and needles. It's like through this destruction we find a release, and we find who we are, which I believe was the point of the book, was not exactly to dive off into chaos, but that you tend to cross the wires and you begin to connect the dots, and the dots begin to make you comprehend just how fucking crazy and boring and mundane the world is. And you lose your mind. You begin to talk to people who aren't there. You begin to make imaginary friends, and you call them Tyler Durden. Material possession. Seclusion. Is that the safest route to escape? No, it's a dangerous path. Which brings me to my next point, which is, okay, so you get a home, you establish yourself, and you adopt a dog, and you name him Sparky or something like that, then the next thing you know, you're stuck in that place for the next 5, 10, 15 years. I've been in that situation before. I've been there. I had an apartment prior to this one, and you become so attached to it that it sort of becomes your umbilical cord, and you have to cut it at some point. And usually it's better sooner than later. It's just like, yeah, you want to situate yourself somewhere for a time being, and you want to make, a pretty invested income, and you want to be safe, you want to be happy, you want to do this, you want to do that. But after 5 years of it, the marbles are going to come loose, and they're going to pour out of your mouth, and then you're going to find yourself hitchhiking all the way across the state during April, where it's snowing, it's cold, and you're contemplating breaking into a barn for the night so you can seek shelter and not freeze to death. It has its repercussions on people, and it has repercussions on the minds of these people who absorb them. And you realize at some point you have to take down that safe zone. You have to take down that place that you've established where nothing can infiltrate it, because eventually something will. It's Murphy's Law. But that said, you become comfortable in your surroundings until they force you out, I guess. And they will eventually. They will force you out, or you become a rich billionaire with a couple homes, and you come up with ideas like, hey, I see that you've stacked up this large student loan bill. I have an idea. We're going to create this funny magical river that flows through the Gardens of Eden, and then eventually courses through Candyland, where there's, you know, these lollipops growing out of the ground, and these sugar canes, oh so sweet. And then we're just going to give it all away, because it's free. Free, 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 and you don't have to work for nothing. You don't gotta work for a dime. But need I remind you, there is no weight behind this idea. It is not logical and it is full of fallacies. Yes, money grows off trees. It grows out of the ground and into these huge fields of glory of cash and imminence. We will take your student loans and we will cash them into the pit of wherever that is. I have manifested in my mind right now because it's entirely hallucinogenic and I cannot seem to make a solid point or sell it to anybody. Ted Cruz, get the fuck out of here! Stop destroying my idea! Communism is a very bad idea.